Okay, let's just get right into it. If you've ever felt your energy levels absolutely crashing, even when you're doing everything right, well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're diving into this explainer to unpack the fascinating science of metabolic efficiency. We're looking at what's known as the bioavailability war, literally a biological battle between IV delivery and your standard oral supplements. Because look, for busy professionals who simply cannot afford downtime, figuring out how to efficiently fuel your body has really never been more critical. So here's a question you've probably asked yourself. Why do oral vitamins sometimes leave you feeling absolutely no different? You buy the expensive bottles, you take them every single morning like clockwork, and nothing. The midday fatigue still hits, the brain fog is still right there. It's incredibly frustrating, right? But what's really interesting here is that the answer isn't about your willpower or your discipline. It actually lies in a physiological bottleneck that's actively stalling your inner engine. Which brings us to section 1, the biological bottleneck, and looking at your metabolism as an engine. Think of your metabolism like a highly complex, high-performance car engine. It's not just a static setting or a random number on a scale. When your mitochondria, which remember are the literal power plants of your cells, lack essential nutrients, that engine gets totally clogged up. It completely fails to process fatty acids. And in your day-to-day life, that translates directly to that unshakable lethargy and those intense mid-afternoon sugar cravings. Your body is practically begging for actual energy. So instead of burning fuel, it panics and starts storing it as fat. Without the right micronutrients actually reaching your cells, your internal engine is basically just sitting there idling. And your environment plays a massive role in whether that engine runs or stalls. Just 3%. That's it. Even mild dehydration, which, let's be real, happens constantly with heavy corporate travel, long flights, or just being in harsh climates like Las Vegas, that alone can slow your metabolism down by up to 3%. When your cells are thirsty, those chemical reactions simply cannot perform efficiently. It creates a massive drag on your entire system, turning a simple bottleneck into a full-on physiological roadblock. Moving right along to section 2, the bioavailability war and surviving the digestive gauntlet. This is exactly why those morning vitamins might be letting you down. It's what we call the bioavailability gap. See, when you swallow a pill, it has to run a really harsh biological gauntlet. It hits your stomach acid, which destroys a lot of it, and then it has to process through the liver. By the time that supplement actually survives digestion, you might only be absorbing 20% of what was promised on the label. Yeah, a staggering 80% is just lost in the process. And if you've got any gut inflammation, which is super common for high-stress professionals, that 20% drops even lower. So the crucial difference really comes down to the delivery pathway. An oral pill is battling stomach acid and the liver, giving you that notoriously low absorption we just talked about. But an IV drip? It delivers metabolic catalyst directly into the venous system. We're talking real-time cellular delivery, completely bypassing that inefficient gastrointestinal tract altogether. There's no biological gauntlet to survive. For professionals trying to maximize time and energy, relying on a digestive system that tosses out 80% of what you put in, well, it just isn't efficient. Because it bypasses the gut entirely, IV drip therapy hits a 100% bioavailability rate. 100%. Nothing is wasted, and your cells don't have to wait. For a busy professional, this is the ultimate efficiency hack. It gives you this immediate loading dose to jumpstart a stalled metabolism. It's a direct, clinical-grade intervention for hydration and energy restoration that traditional pills literally just cannot match. All right, on to section 3, inside the IV drip and the metabolic catalysts. To really understand what's being absorbed so efficiently into your bloodstream, let's look at targeted clinical treatments like the B-Lean IV, which is formulated specifically to optimize fat transport and energy. It basically uses 3 main pillars. First, you have the B-complex vitamins. These are the workhorses acting as essential cofactors for energy. Second is L-Carnitine, which we can call the shuttle bus. And third is taurine, the regulator. Let's zoom in on how those last 2 actually work inside you. So think of L-Carnitine as your cellular shuttle bus. It's an amino acid derivative that physically transports long-chain fatty acids straight into the mitochondria so they can be oxidized or, burned for energy. Without enough of this specific transporter, those fat molecules are just going to stay trapped in your bloodstream or get stored in your tissue. You literally cannot burn fat if it can't physically get into the cellular furnace. Delivering this via IV just ensures that shuttle bus is actually on its route. And then we have taurine, which is a master metabolic regulator. By improving insulin sensitivity, it keeps your body locked in a fat-burning state rather than a fat-storing state. Plus, it acts as a really powerful antioxidant. actively dialing back the oxidative stress that usually comes with sudden metabolic shifts and rapid weight loss. It's giving your body the exact tools it needs to dismantle fat safely and efficiently, without that terrible fatigue that plagues traditional diets. Which brings us to Section 4, the ultimate professional biohack. Bringing all this science back to the real world, it's pretty obvious why this is becoming the ultimate biohack for busy professionals. Mobile IV therapy completely bypasses clinical wait times. Having a medical professional show up at your home, office, or hotel room for a 45 to 60-minute session with zero downtime, that removes all the friction. And for a busy executive, efficiency is everything. Less friction means less stress and lower cortisol, which is huge because high stress and elevated cortisol actually build belly fat. This ensures you keep up a highly effective health routine without adding anything extra to your plate. And the philosophy behind this whole approach is just incredibly freeing. The source notes that weight loss becomes a byproduct of health rather than a grueling chore. When your cellular engine is actually fully fueled with 100% bioavailable nutrients and you're properly hydrated, your body stops fighting itself. You finally step out of that state of chronic depletion and constant fatigue and step right into a state of optimized vitality. Your body starts working for you instead of against you. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question to think about. Are you fighting your body's biology, or are you ready to directly fuel your internal engine? For busy professionals, time and energy are quite literally your most valuable commodities. By closing that bioavailability gap and choosing the 100% efficiency of direct IV delivery, you can completely redefine how you recover, how you work, and how you perform every single day. The science is incredibly clear, and the delivery is efficient. So how are you going to choose to fuel your engine? Keep learning, keep optimizing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.